Maybe sometimes just need to calm down just a little bit. But, that's neither here or there. Because I'm here to tell you, Caitlin Clark has never, ever done what I'm about to show you. Let's pull it up right now. Everybody is starting to react to this. Now, this happened a few days ago. I'm about to blow this footage up. This here is a Arike Ogumawale for the Dallas Wings. Now, the Dallas Wings.
A clip has been circulating online showing an incident from a few days back. It was initially noticed when it happened, but with everything happening around the Fever lately, it slipped through the cracks for a bit. In the recorded moment, one player from the opposing roster completely wrecked a broadcast table on the sideline. The whole setup got knocked apart. Items toppled everywhere. It looked pretty extreme. There exists a certain crowd of critics who consistently look for reasons to call out Caitlin Clark over nearly anything she does. Whatever small thing happens, they're quick to make noise about it. Some of these criticisms hold a bit of merit occasionally regarding Clark, but the level of backlash she usually receives doesn't match the situation. There's room to say she could occasionally tone things down without it being a major scandal.
Dallas Wings. Now, the Dallas Wings got two set players, Arike and Paige, that have their way with showing their emotions. Now, I'm going to put another video together after this showing Paige unloading and exploding on benches, refs. It don't matter. She does it too. But for some reason, the WNBA police has nothing to say. Watch the clip and tell me your thoughts.
16. Still, none of that compares to what's being shown here, because Clark has never come close to this kind of reaction. The footage in question features Arike Ogunbowale playing for the Dallas Wings. The Wings roster includes two players, Arike and Paige, both known for openly showing frustration on the court. A separate compilation may follow later covering Paige's outbursts toward benches and officials, since she does the same thing regularly. Yet somehow, the group quick to criticize Clark stays completely silent about these instances. In the brief clip, Arike Ogunbowale knocks over the broadcast table entirely while her team trails against the Sparks during the game. The Sparks aren't considered a particularly strong squad this season. Despite representing a major market like Los Angeles, home of Hollywood, the incident reportedly took place at the Los Angeles Arena. Viewers can clearly see her visible frustration in the clip.
Oh, yes. In this 4-second clip, Arike Ogunbowale completely destroys the announcer's table because they're losing at the time to the Sparks. Now, we know the Sparks is not really that good, even though they're in the City of Lights. They're in LA. They're in Hollywood. And this is, I believe...
One comment online asked where the so-called conduct watchdogs were this time. Another pointed out the referees, noting that the only penalty handed out went to Angel Reese for accidentally kicking a ball away, calling it ridiculous officiating by the league. Looking through some of the reactions, one person mentioned that Reese should stop publicly questioning officiating decisions from past press conferences, arguing the league doesn't care about her complaints and she needs to adjust her behavior. That comment came across as fairly harsh. Another asked if the table smashing incident resulted in any fine or technical foul, and the answer appears to be no. Someone noted the clip itself was older footage, though it was confirmed accurate. Another comment suggested the league office has been targeting Reese and Boston with questionable foul calls designed to push them into foul trouble, forcing them to either sit out or play cautiously. The coach was described as old school, supposedly using Reese's situation to manage other players by restricting her shot attempts, running a slower half-court style, and controlling tempo. One frustrated viewer said they can't stand watching the league anymore, criticizing the front office, ownership, coaching staff, and refereeing, saying they wouldn't let their own kids watch given what kind of example it sets.
I believe at LA Arena. But as you guys can see here, oh, she hella mad. Somebody said, where's the body language police? And what about these refs? Only give text to Cece for mistakenly kicking the ball. Frickin' morons of the W. Let's read some of these comments. Cece needs to stop talking about why she thinks the ref get it right with her tech foul during past press conference.
Jason Whitlock also weighed in publicly, expressing disappointment, saying that if Reese was going to behave the same way as everyone else in the league, there wouldn't have been reason to support her in the first place. The expectation was that she'd bring a more polished, classy image and serve as a positive example for younger fans, especially as Clark continues to mature in her own role. According to him, Reese isn't meeting that standard. There's uncertainty about what's been going on with Whitlock's commentary recently. There hasn't been much engagement with his show lately, for personal reasons, but it seems like he's been inconsistent, sometimes defending Reese, other times criticizing her. He's still respected overall, but the back-and-forth nature of his takes raises questions about whether he's being genuine or just chasing engagement. Some days he's firmly in one camp, other days completely flipped, and it leaves people wondering which side he's actually on. Separately, there's additional news worth mentioning involving a referee from the Connecticut Sun publicly praising Clark. That moment is worth showing as well.
With her tech foul during past press conference, they don't care about her and she needs to act accordingly. Damn, that was kind of ruthless. Somebody else said, did she get fined or a foul or a tech called? I'm going to say no. Oh, somebody said it's an old one, but yes, she was. Okay. Somebody else said the W are going after CC and Boston by calling ghost fouls to put them in foul trouble. So they either foul out or sit. Coach.
A reporter asked the referee about Lindsay Allen's defensive performance against Caitlin Clark, noting that she appeared to rattle Clark at times, leading to some turnovers, and asked for the official's take on how Allen handled the matchup. The referee responded that Allen did what was necessary against one of the best players in the world, not backing off, not giving her room or time to set up her shot. Even though Clark still finished with 25 points, none of those looked like comfortable, easy attempts. The referee suggested Clark may need to adjust her aggressiveness level at times, occasionally stepping back and playing a bit more patiently. This kind of matchup, the referee added, serves as valuable experience for Allen. Facing high-level competition like this helps her grow and become more effective over time. The referee mentioned wanting to talk further with Allen about it, but overall felt she did a solid job, noting she also picked off some passes and stayed engaged and present throughout, calling it a good growth opportunity to compete against that caliber of player. The same question was asked again moments later, with nearly identical wording, about Allen's defensive effort against Clark, noting she seemed to frustrate Clark and force turnovers. Asking for the official's view on the matchup, the referee gave essentially the same answer. Allen did what was required against a top-tier player, refusing to give ground or time, and even though Clark scored 25 points, none of the looks were easy or comfortable. The referee again noted Clark might benefit from occasionally dialing back her aggression and playing with more patience.
They either foul out or sit. Coach White is an old school player and a W coach. Uses CC to make her and the other players good by limiting her shots, playing half-court offense, and slowing down the game. I can't watch the WNBA trash commish, trash ownership, trash coaching, trash refs. No idea how to grow their brand or how to treat star players. Would never let my daughters watch.
Facing this level of competition, the referee said, helps Allen develop and improve. There was mention of wanting to follow up with Allen directly, but the overall assessment was positive. She competed well, generated a steal, stayed attentive and active, and gained valuable experience going against that tier of opponent. The Indiana Fever are set to face the Toronto Tempo in a contest, pairing a team that has struggled lately against one that has been clicking. This is essentially a cabin meeting between one of the league's currently out-of-sync squads and one of its hottest. Indiana enters as the heavy pick to come away with the victory, and yes, the Fever have looked rough recently. They genuinely have not been good. But it's also worth noting that the Tempo,
their brand or how to treat star players. Would never let my daughters watch that league. I mean, what would they learn exactly? That was a tough one, too. Now, Jason Whitlock also shared this. He said, love you, man. But if we thought CC was going to behave like everyone else in the WNBA, we wouldn't have jumped on board. We thought CC was going to bring a classier style, be a role model for young girls. Angel Reese is maturing. CC isn't. Sad.
Looking at how the matchup projects, Indiana is given roughly an 80% probability of winning outright. Still, Toronto's roster fits this matchup in a problematic way for the Fever, and honestly, this should be a grinding, difficult night for Indiana given the specific players Toronto can throw at them. Marina Mabrey is capable of exploding for a huge total any given night. She's that kind of unpredictable scorer. Brittany Sykes is equally erratic in the best way and could easily put up 40 points tonight. If Indiana gets caught switching everything and someone undersized ends up guarding Clark on a drive, the game could be functionally decided right there. Clark would likely get hammered with contact on the other end and end up with a quiet scoring night, essentially game over in that scenario. That said, looking back at how Sykes performed last season tells a story worth remembering, and it's something a lot of people don't seem to recall clearly. There was a 3-8-point outburst this year, then another 3-8-point night not long after. She's tops in the entire league for games scoring 30 plus points.
It's maturing. CC isn't. Sad. I don't know what Jason Whitlock has been on these last couple of days. Now, I have not been on this show. I'll leave why. But my thing about it is that Jason seemed like he's playing both sides when it comes to the CC thing. Now, I'm not here to point fingers at Jason Whitlock. He's still my dog. But I'm not with him, bro. It's like some days you like.
Rewinding to last season's game log, 22, 27, 30, 10, 21 inches, a win over Indiana, then 27, 28, and then things dropped off hard from there. She had an especially rough stretch in Seattle, truly an ice-cold outing in that one. So with Sykes, the range of outcomes on any given night is genuinely wide. One night she's a flawless 10 out of 10 performance, the next she barely registers, maybe a 1 out of 10. But unexpected role players torching the Fever has been a recurring theme all season, and there's a real chance Sykes does exactly that tonight. Indiana hasn't shown it has a reliable answer for her downhill speed and burst. The Fever simply lack the lateral quickness to consistently stay in front of her. On the flip side, Toronto is missing Kiki Rice, which works in Indiana's favor here since she's a significant piece of their rotation.
Purely of who the personnel for the Toronto Tempo are. Marina Mabrey can do anything. Is liable to do anything. Brittany Sykes is liable to do anything. Like, she very well could go for 40 tonight. Like, if the Indiana Fever switch everything and Brittany Sykes has to go downhill on Caitlin Clark, it's over. Like, Caitlin's going to be fouled at this game and she's going to have like 10 points. Like, it's absolutely GG's in that scenario. That being said, like, if you're
Julie Van Loo brings veteran savvy to the floor regardless. Toronto did get blown out by the Dream recently, though that breakdown happened mostly after Aaliyah Edwards left the floor. Before that point, it wasn't really a lopsided affair at all. And in that specific game, both Mabrey and Sykes had off nights simultaneously, which seems unlikely to repeat itself 2 games in a row. Toronto also dropped a heartbreaker to the Mystics on a last-second shot they probably should have won, then turned around and beat the Sky in overtime. Then lost to the Liberty. Considering everything, this version of the Tempo features a roster with real hunger. Call them underdogs with something to prove, particularly Mabrey and Sykes specifically. Sykes carries just a single all-star nod despite her talent level, and if Mabrey drops 30 points tonight, her case for an all-star selection grows significantly, because production against Indiana carries outsized weight in the public eye compared to any other opponent. That's a point that gets overlooked far too often. People dismiss Indiana as just another opponent on the schedule, which is fair on its face, but there's no ignoring that performances against the Fever get noticed more than performances against literally anyone else, purely because of the attention the franchise draws right now. Torch Indiana once and your stock rises regardless of who you are or what your season otherwise looks like.
like if you're looking at the way the way Sykes has been, just like last year. If you guys don't remember, I'm going to show you guys her game log from last year. So this year, obviously, had a 38-point game, had another 38-point game. She leads the league in 30-point games. But if you look at last year, at the start of the year, 22, 27, 30, 10, 21 against Indiana in a win, 27, 28. And then it just went to shit. It just went to shit. She was really bad in Seattle.
Take Georgia Amoore as an example, statistically one of the league's least efficient shooters against everyone except the Fever. She's hitting roughly 20% from 3 on the season overall, and without one specific 4-for-4 night from deep against Indiana, that number would be even lower than it already is. Yet that single hot game against the Fever has people suddenly calling her a knockdown shooter. She's been arguably the least effective player in the league this year by most measures, and she's only getting minutes because her coach appears to be tanking for position. None of that changes how perception shifted instantly after cooking Indiana that one time. So yes, this matchup figures to be a genuine fight given Toronto's personnel across the board. Natisha Hiedemann is healthy again and back in the rotation, which complicates things further for Indiana defensively. Beyond her return, Maddie Siegrist is a legitimate weapon on this roster, someone who can hurt teams in multiple ways. Shug Sutton will also be looking to make a statement of her own tonight, no doubt about that intention. Going into this one, she's clearly motivated.
It just went to shit. She was really bad in Seattle. Really, really bad in Seattle. So you just never know what you're going to get when it comes to Brittany Sykes. Like, you're probably going to get you could very well get a 10 out of 10 performance or a 1 out of 10 performance. But I do think that random role players cooking the Fever is something that's happened. I think we're going to see Sykes cook them. I don't think we're going to see a Indiana Fever team that deals well with the Brittany Sykes. I feel like Sykes is one of those types of players.
Jordan Canada can flat out play too, a steady, well-rounded forward presence who does the little things well. Overall, this is genuinely an intriguing matchup to break down. 5-0-0, caliber team that has nonetheless dropped its last 2 games in a row. One of those losses came to Portland, and incidentally, Portland's only win since facing Indiana came against a Dallas squad that was missing its top scorer at the time, so expectations for Portland's overall win total this season should stay modest going forward. But this particular game against Toronto figures to be far tighter than people currently expect it to be. Similar to how the Connecticut and Chicago matchups played out earlier in the season, the Indiana-Chicago game needed overtime to settle, a result that was predicted ahead of time despite plenty of pushback and ridicule for saying so publicly at the time. The Indiana-Connecticut game was also forecast to be tight and close, and sure enough, it was exactly that. The larger point underlying all of this is that Toronto plays with relentless, consistent effort regardless of the score on the board at any given moment.
That the Indiana Fever are going to really struggle to contain because she's just downhill. The Fever don't have the quickness. They don't have the quickness. And look, the Toronto Tempo are a team that, if you're looking at how they've been playing, they don't have Kiki Rice, which is big. Kiki Rice being out helps the Indiana Fever here. But like, Julie Allemond is a vet. Like, they got hammered, they got killed.
Sykes is relentless every single trip down the floor. Mabry is equally relentless in her approach. Those big leads Indiana tends to build and then squander throughout games won't fly against a team that treats every single fours. Possession exactly the same whether up 20 or down 20 points. Anything could realistically happen here, Indiana clawing back from a 2-0 point hole late, or Indiana coughing up a comfortable 2-0 point cushion simply because Sykes keeps getting to the free throw line repeatedly, or Mabry catches fire from deep out of nowhere. This will not be a comfortable, easy night under any circumstance. No matter the storyline going in, some will frame a comfortable Indiana win as a statement given how difficult this matchup looks on paper, and given how poorly Indiana's roster fits up against Toronto's personnel. That framing would actually be accurate. A clean, decisive win here would genuinely mean something significant. Indiana simply doesn't have a defender built specifically to slow down Sykes in particular. There's someone capable of handling Alicia Gray reasonably. Well, someone capable of handling Kelsey Mitchell on the perimeter, but matching up with Toronto's roster overall remains a serious, unresolved problem for this current Fever team heading into tonight.
They got killed by the Dream. They got killed by the Dream. But like, it wasn't like they were getting killed by the Dream the entire game. It was just once Izzy Harrison went out, the whole game just went to shit. And obviously, it was one of those games where Mabry and Sykes were garbage. I don't think you're going to see both of them be garbage again. I think at least one of them is going to be good today. Like, they lost by a point to the Mystics in, like, on a buzzer beater game that they should have won. Like, And now we have a situation where like they beat the Connectics on an OT. They hammered the Sky. They lost to Liberty. And this is their... Like, I understand it's in Indiana. These are games where you have got a bunch of like... I'm not going to say... I'll say dogs. I'm going to say dogs for this team. And you've got the likes of Mabry and Sykes who have points to prove. These are players that I've never... Like, Sykes is a one-time All-Star. Mabry's a zero-time All-Star. Like, if Marina Mabry goes and has 30 tonight, the odds of her getting an All-Star spot are high because what you do against the Fever matters more than against any other team. Like, I don't think people understand that. People are like, oh, yeah, you know, the Fever are just another team. I agree with that point. But we also have to be very, very clear. The what you do against the Fever matters more than what you do against any other team because all the eyes balls are there. If you cook the Fever, it doesn't matter how shit you are. Like Georgia Amore is the worst player in the WNBA to get minutes. She is legitimately terrible. But she goes 4 for 4 from 3 against the Fever. And I'm literally seeing people that no ball